In today's video, I'm going to continue with my series on your psychic senses, and we're going to talk about clairsentience, which is one of the most common ways that people's psychic abilities show up that they don't realize they're showing up. So, clairsentience is also psychic feeling, and can come through in a few different ways. Psychic feeling can come through in terms of emotional sensations or physical sensations. Some people separate this out. Some people use the term clairempathy instead. I like to just group it all together to make it nice and simple. But the whole point is just for you to understand that there are a lot of feelings you might have physically or emotionally that are actually your psychic senses talking to you. So this is a way that your soul, your body's wisdom, your body's intelligence, a spirit guide, the universe, source energy, whoever, whatever you're resonating with, or whoever, whatever you're talking to, can send you messages through your body. This is probably the most common way that psychic gifts show up that people don't recognize as psychic abilities. And for me, there was a very long time that I did not understand the difference between what was my clairsentience and what were actually, for me, illnesses. So I had a lot of different chronic illnesses, and there were definitely physical things going on with my body, but that was really intimately connected with my clairsentience. And it took me a really long time to figure out how to discern between what was a symptom because of my psychic abilities, my body was telling me something, and what was a symptom because there was something going on with my gut. Maybe I had gut dysbiosis, or I ate a food that my body didn't react well to. So it took me a while to separate those. And I've worked with thousands of people, and I've worked with a lot of people that have this. And a lot of people with clairsentience, well, what I'll say is there's a lot of overlap between clairsentience and people who have dealt with health issues. And I think this is really important to learn about, so that you can start to peel apart what's what. So how does this show up? Let's talk about the emotions first. So let's say you're chatting with somebody, or you walk into a room, or you're listening to a song and suddenly you start to feel an emotion. You start to feel really sad. But when you walked in, you didn't feel sad, you felt neutral, or you felt happy. Or you start to feel really insecure. This is a really common one I'll tell clients. They will tell me, I just feel really insecure or not confident whenever I do XYZ. And I'll say, do you feel insecure, or are you sitting down with somebody who's feeling insecure? Are you feeling the emotions of the energy in the room? I think a lot of us know the experience of walking into a room and you can cut the tension with a knife. You can feel the emotions. If you walk into a funeral service, you can feel the emotion. You can feel the sadness. You can feel the grief. And it goes the other way too. You can walk into a room and it's someone's birthday party and everybody is just having the best time, and you can feel those positive feelings. And here's the tricky part, right? How do I discern between what is my actual feeling, that's my emotion, and what is an emotion I'm feeling that I'm picking up from someone else? And there's a lot to that, and there's a lot of mastery to that, but the most basic answer I can give is, does it have a cause? Does it have a cause, right? So if I'm just walking around and suddenly I feel really, really sad, am I picking up on someone next to me at the grocery store? That happens to me all the time. Or I'm listening to a podcast, or I am listening to some music and I'm feeling a lot of emotions. Am I feeling that emotion because I'm feeling the energy of the person I'm hearing or the room I'm walking into? Or did something happen that made me feel that way? So that's just a really basic way to think about it, but you're going to feel through your emotions what other people are feeling, or a feeling that is giving you intuitive information about the scenario or about the person. So it's not always what the person is feeling right in that moment, but it can be an underlying emotion. So to give you an example, when I'm giving sessions with clients, I will pay attention to how I'm feeling in my body, and I'll have emotions come up, and it's not necessarily how they're feeling in that moment, although sometimes it is. But more often it's, wow, I'm feeling really like I disappointed someone. I'm feeling a lot of disappointment, and I'll bring that up and like, wow, yeah, like I've had that toward XYZ. I've noticed that. And so it's not necessarily what they're actively feeling, but it can be connected to a deeper energy that's related to something in their life. Now, the other way that this can come through can be through feelings as in physical sensation. So this is where you start to see where people have things like body rashes or acne or bloating or constipation or diarrhea. The gut issues are very connected to clairsentience. Also, because your body is so connected to how you process energy, this is a big way that we will feel when things are right for us, when things are wrong for us, or even just give us information about a setting. So it could be as simple as, a certain location that you go to, you keep getting a body rash. And you're like, why do I keep getting a body rash? And you think it's something you're eating or you're allergic to something. But then you notice it happens every time I walk into that store. And here's the thing. Maybe there's something in that store like mold, for example. But maybe it could also be your body just doesn't want you in that store, or maybe there are people in that store that just aren't really resonant for you. For whatever reason, your body is saying, I don't like it here. Maybe there's a smell in that store. There's something wrong with the smell, but maybe your body is just not resonant with it. And again, I think this comes back to something I talk about a lot. This is the place where I find a lot of people get judgmental unintentionally. And I think that's really important to understand when you are working with this and developing this, because your clairsentience in your body can feel like a very clear yes or no. It can feel like a very clear, my body either is happy here, I feel good, I have more energy, I feel lighter, whatever it is, or I don't feel good. I am bloated, I'm constipated, I have a rash, I feel really down. And so because we can experience it and interpret it in that very dualistic way, it can often lead people to say, well, this is bad and this is good. And I just want to caution you against that, because it's not that black and white. There is a lot of data you can get underneath your clairsentience the more you practice with it. But it's just letting you know where there's something that maybe is off or non-resonant. And that doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. Sometimes it might mean it's not resonant for you, but sometimes it's just an indication signal of, it could be many different things. So I just want to let you know about that. The other thing that can happen here would be like racing heart or temperature. I find that a lot of people who are very intuitive, and again, this is where it can overlap with physical symptoms, they can have that racing heart. They can also get a lot of hot flashes, like heat can pop up. And so here's the thing with this. Always check with your medical provider. Always check on what's going on underlying with your body. But the more you start to pay attention to this, and you start to notice patterns of who you're talking to, who you're listening to, what you're around, the type of music you're around, the colors you're around, the environments you're in, any and all information, you might start to pick up patterns. And just understand that those patterns can be data. So I'm never saying to not look into the physical part. You want to make sure, if there's a health issue, there can be, very physical things that are going on. And the other side is just to add another layer. There can also be a clairsentient thing going on. So you can look into that as well. Now, what I know is, because for me, most of the day, I turn my other senses down. I just like to operate in this human 3D realm. My clairsentience, in my claircognizance, but my clairsentience doesn't ever turn off. Like, I'm never turning off the physical sensations in my body. And I love clairsentience because it is, for me, like a foolproof way. I'm always going to get data. My mind might think, oh, I really want to do that. Yeah, that sounds great. And yeah, I'm all for it, but then my body is having like a very negative, absolutely not. You're not going there. You're not doing that. I can't deny that reaction. And so that's why I love the clairsentience, because it's always giving me data that I know I'm not making up. Like when I have a very real body reaction, I know I'm not making that up. And sometimes with things like clairvoyance or clairaudience, people can get confused of, did I create that or did that come to me? Clairsentience, you will know, you will feel. So the more you work with this and the more you start to identify how it comes through, if it's more emotional, if it's more those physical sensations, and for a lot of people it's both, it can be different at different times, you can start to pay attention to the subtleties there. I know a lot of intuitives who are pure clairsentience, and they know every little crevice of their body and what any type of sensation there means, right? My left pinky means this, and my right knee means this, and my, right side means this. And so there are general meanings to different parts of the body, and obviously your left side, your right side, things like that. But you can also have your own language with your clairsentience, right? So for one person, every time their left side gets activated, that might not be just that it's about feminine energy. It could mean anything. It could mean, oh, that's my sign that it's from someone in the room, and my right side is about the environment I'm in, for example. I'm just making that up. It could be different for every person. With your spiritual gifts, you are developing your own language, and you have to kind of figure that out. But the call to action here is just to really start to pay attention to your emotions and physical sensations you have, and even what's going on with your body, and noticing if there are patterns, and getting in touch with, I'm not going to judge what I'm feeling. I'm just going to get curious about it. And the more you do that, you'll start to piece together what's a feeling that's a psychic message and what's a feeling that is caused by something in your reality. Right? I know for me, I'll get a lot of messages through the classic clairsentience, which is goosebumps, chills. I'll feel like a breeze that's not really there, right? I'll feel like I'm glowing. I'll feel a warmth in my belly. Things like that can be really subtle signs that usually come along with other things, right? I might be saying something or thinking about something important, and my guides are sending me that sensation or that feeling to let me know, yes, this is important, you're on the right track, right? Or I'm around someone, I get that lovely glow in my stomach, or I get those butterflies, like all those things that we feel in our bodies that we know are signs. This is part of your clairsentience. So pay attention to those and start to give them significance. Like, goosebumps are huge for people. I know a lot of people who constantly get goosebumps the second somebody says something important. They're like, whoa, look at me, and they immediately get goosebumps. That is your clairsentience telling you, pay attention. That was really important. And so that is an unmistakable sign that you can start to notice in your body. So the real call to action here is to pay attention to those signs and start to love your body's wisdom. I find a lot of people with clairsentience don't love all the sensations they get. When you start to work with them and you recognize them and you get the message, if it's a psychic message, it can dissipate more quickly. So for example, the other day this happened. I was doing something and I got a rash on my chest. Like, I felt it. It got so hot, and I looked over and I had a rash, and it came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, that's because XYZ, right? And I felt my body say, like, yes. And the rash like immediately went away. But what used to happen is I wouldn't recognize what the message was. And so the rash would stay for like 3, 4, or 5 days until I figured it out. And same thing for me, for sure, with my digestion. Once I get the message, I can feel it, everything shift, and I don't need the symptom anymore, because again, it's just a message. So it's there to let you know. And sometimes it doesn't go away until you shift the dynamic or you go to a different location, XYZ. That can be true as well. So let me know if you feel like you're clairsentient. I know this one is really common, and it is such a beautiful gift. It's something that I feel like a lot of people really overlook, and everybody like wants these other senses. And I'm like, clairsentience is very powerful and gives you such deep wisdom that you just cannot make up. So learning to love this one is important, and that is the one that I feel like really ties together all of the other gifts as well. So let me know how it shows up for you, what you notice, or any specific examples. I would love to hear. And if you want to work on developing your clairsentience or any of your psychic abilities, I have a few different resources for you. You can check out my Awaken Your Spiritual Gifts guided energy work in my app, the Christina the Channel app in Next Level You. You can go to christinathechannel.com/membership for a 7-day free trial and just go exactly to that guided energy work, because that's the best thing for turning on your spiritual abilities, which turning on your psychic senses is very easy when you're doing energy work on yourself, because you're clearing out any energetic blocks to your channel, because you naturally have all of this on. So it's a very simple, powerful thing you can do at home to open up your psychic abilities more. We'll put the link for that 7-day free trial below as well. And if you really want to dive deep into all of your psychic abilities and turning these on and mastering them, check out my Ahai energy healing training. This is my signature program. There is a level 1 where you learn to do energy work just on yourself, and there's a level 2 where you can move on to learn to send energy to others. But the whole foundation of that course, I teach how to turn on your psychic abilities, because doing energy work and psychic senses are so intimately connected. I just feel like the best way is to have both of them together. And energy work is something that really opens up people's gifts quickly. I've had countless students tell me that just by going through the program and doing the energy work, their gifts turned on, and they were spending years trying to get stronger in their psychic abilities. It's because it's usually just an energy block. So that will open these up. And then I also just teach on this much more in depth in that program. If you're interested in that, I run it a few times a year. Again, it's my signature program, and we always have a wait list running. So you can check it out below. We'll put the link in the description. Sorry, we'll put the link in the description below so you can check that out. And if you just want some more quick mini lessons, check out my whole playlist on how to activate your psychic senses right here on YouTube. And let me know how it goes when you start to pay attention more to your clairsentience, because you do have spidey senses. We all do. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next video.